Hello, I am Alex Willan, and I am the author and illustrator of the book Unicorns Are the Worst. And today I'm going to be showing you how to draw the main character, a grumpy little goblin named Gilbert. Alright, so we'll start with just a wide oval right in the middle of the page, like so. And then we're going to do two smaller ovals on the inside for each of his eyes. So one like that, another one right beside it, and then just a couple little dots in the middle for his pupils. Do a couple of curved lines for his eyebrows over each eye. And Gilbert's a pretty grumpy character, so we're going to give him a little bit of a frown. Now his ears are sort of like flower petal shaped. So we're going to start on the one side, go up and out, curve it around, and then back down and curve into the side of his head. We're going to do the same thing on the other side but flipped. So up and out, curve around. But on this ear, he actually has a little nick in the side of his ear. So we're going to start the same by going out and up, but stop. Do a little half circle curve, and then connect that to the rest of the ear. And then you can add just a couple curves for where the folds of his ears are. Alright, so Gilbert's hat normally would be a tall triangle shape, but over the ears it's sort of slumped to the side. So we're going to start with a line above his one eye going up and stop, then a curved line out from there, then another curved line out from there. And then we'll do a bigger one connecting it all the way back to the top of his head. So big curve over and down and connect. Now his hat also has a patch on it, which is in the shape of a square. So we're going to do a line right above his head, and then another one above that, and then just connect those lines together. And you can add little lines to show where he's sewn the patch onto his hat. Alright, next we have Gilbert's smock, which is going to be a line down from underneath his eye, and then another line down from underneath the other eye, and stop about at the same line. And normally we just draw a line across connecting them, but this hat's got a couple little tears in it. So you can start drawing that line and stop, and then just do a little M shape, and then connect it to the other side. And like his hat, he's got a patch on his smock as well, but this one, instead of being a square, it's turned sideways like a diamond. So we're going to do an angled line instead, another angled line above it, connect those two lines, and then draw another angled line to the side. And again, a couple little lines for where he sewed it on. And lastly is his collar, which is a line straight down right underneath his chin, and then we're going to do 3 flat X's. So one, and then a slightly smaller X, and an even smaller X. Now Gilbert's a pretty grumpy character, so we're going to give him sort of a grumpy pose with his hands on his hips. So that's going to mean drawing a big line out to the side, and then back in, almost like a triangle, but you're going to stop before you get to the edge of the smock. A smaller triangle on the inside of his arm, out, all the way back in, and then a little curve for where his fingers curl over. We're going to do the same thing but flipped on the other side. So big triangle out, back in and stop. Little triangle on the inside of his arm, and a curve for his fingers. And that just leaves his legs. We'll start at the bottom of the smock and draw a line down and stop. And then a line next to that, down a little bit further and stop. Do a curve, bigger curve for the top of his foot, and a small curve for the top of his toes. Connect those lines together. And then you can draw a couple little more curves to show where his other toes are. So just like with the arms, we're going to do the same thing but flipped for his other leg. Line straight down and stop. Another line a little bit longer and stop, lined up with the bottom of the foot. Big curve for the top of the foot. Little curve for the top of the toes. Connect the lines together and add the other toes. And that's how you draw Gilbert. But since Gilbert's a bit of a grump, we're going to give him a little happy companion, like a sock slug. So sock slugs are really easy to draw. It's just a straight line across, and then a big curve for the front of their body, a medium-sized curve for the middle of their body, and then a smaller curve for the tail end of their body. We're going to put a couple of circles floating above their head for where their eyes are, a couple dots in the middle, and then just a couple straight lines to connect the eyes to their body. Now, unlike Gilbert, sock slugs are pretty happy-go-lucky, so we'll give them a nice smile. And one of the great things about sock slugs is that they come in every pattern. So you can do whatever pattern you want on your sock slug. You can do stripes, polka dots, zigzags. I'm going to just add a couple little polka dots to my guy here, just to give him a little bit of character. But again, you can do whatever you want on your sock slug. And then also with sock slugs, you can give them whatever name you want. So I'm going to name this one Sam. Sam the sock slug. And lastly, you always want to be sure and sign your artwork so that everyone knows that you made it. And that's how you draw Gilbert the Goblin and one of his sock slugs. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.